We started fostering about 3.5 years ago. My mom fostered when I was a teenager and a young adult. She also adopted from foster care, and so at a young age I was able to see the need, and so it was a big part of my heart. When we got married and had a couple of kids, and we decided that we wanted to adopt a third child. When we got her, she was a foster child, so we fostered her until we were able to adopt, and during that process we decided that we wanted to foster more kids, and one thing led to another, and then we ended up with a house full.
It's had a huge impact on our children, our biological children, seeing, us taking care of other people, and they're learning a valuable lesson along the way. There's several ways that I've seen, God work in this, in my personal life, and in my wife's life, and our biological children. See a lot of impact on them, and then of course in the kids themselves, whether we foster them until they find an adoptive home or go back to their family, or whether we adopt them, whether it's short term or long term, there's always that opportunity to share the love of Jesus with them, and that's an opportunity that they may have never had before if they hadn't come to our home. So it's a real privilege to have those opportunities.
And also, when you take in a child, you're not just taking the child, you're taking the child's entire family, and you have an opportunity to do something big, and you have an opportunity to help break the cycle. They don't usually have someone like that is there for them and that they can trust. A lot of our birth parents were in foster care themselves, so there's not a very big safety net. So the opportunity for me to be that for someone is so important to me, and I think that's the biggest thing. And I see God move in such huge ways.
It's not easy, but it's worth it, and that's where you find the value of it is in the need that these children have. Realizing that it's not about you, it's about them, and giving them the opportunity to be loved and to be safe, and those things that we take for granted so often.
We like for people to babysit, but you can't just babysit a foster child without going through DHR, so you have to go and get fingerprinted. But once you do that, there's a lot of things you can do if you're not going to foster. You can mentor, you can shuttle kids around. It's difficult for us that have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids to get them places, especially when you have several different kids that have to be several different places at once. It's very helpful to have someone that can do those things for you. You can sponsor kids. Christmas is a big deal, buying gifts for kids at Christmas, or just coming. Sometimes I just want to talk to a grown-up that just come sit at my house and talk to me and while I do laundry.
We started fostering 2.5 years ago,
Yeah.
or something like that, through Coleman County DHR.
And we've worked with a lot of other organizations prior to that for several years, but we've actually been foster parents for 2.5 years.
When it came time to see what we were going to do, we decided to foster and see how maybe an addition would work to the family.
Our initial desire was to adopt, but we called several adoption agencies, and we didn't want to adopt internationally, we wanted to adopt here in the States. So that was a little bit challenging. We already had biological children, we had 2 daughters. So we ended up, every place I called 5 in a row, and every one of them asked, have you thought about fostering? So after the 5th one, I called Michael, I was like, I think there's something up, but I think we need to talk about fostering. And then after that, we started taking classes, and that's where God led us. They teach us a whole lot more than we could ever teach them, even just about God and His love and His protection and just some of the things they come out of, how do they make it through it, and you just realize that, you just see God at work in a lot of situations, and you get to see that on a real level.
A lot of the kids that we've had have taught me more about myself than what I thought I knew about myself. They teach me some of my limits. They teach me how to be more accepting. They teach me how to be more considerate as far as understanding goes on what they need. That we all come from different circumstances. Some are good and some are not good. I think personally that if you're a saved Christian, you got work to do. You're called into the mission field of some sort. And we can't all be hands, we can't all be feet, but we have to be part of the body to make things operate. There's a lot that's involved on this, a lot of stress. There's a lot of emotions that are involved in it. But there's a lot of benefits of doing it as well.
When you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 children, you've pretty well exhausted your family helping, you know, just for things. So just babysitting is huge for us. We recommend it. I mean, we think definitely it's a calling, and I think that if you're not called, you're going to struggle. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it is, you struggle anyway, but you have to be called to it. And I would just encourage you, if you feel like that's what's for you, just, you know, do some praying and seek and make sure that's what God has for you, and then go do it.
It's an awesome thing. I think that it's really cool to watch families come back together.